This inequality of arms in the public eye expresses itself in the way the prosecution controls the narrative by arbitrarily lifting redactions so that it can make its narrative of a grand scheme of co-perpetration known to the public in open court, while the defense can only meaningfully attack the real meat and the substance of the charges, either obliquely or in closed session, including that hotly disputed incident with the CCTV. Well, we hope that we have found a way around that by referring your honours to the relevant places in the evidence, and we do trust you to pick up on the problems without the benefit of our full explanations in open session, even if the remaining part of our plea was rendered rather dry. I tried to engage him concerning the evidence, and he lost the desire to follow me within less than a minute. I offered to show him excerpts of the confirmation proceedings, a few minutes of the deputy prosecutor, a few moments of Ms. Massiter, and hoping that it might excite him a bit more, some of my own opening statement. He shook his head firmly. I implored him. I said, "Sir, look at what we are doing for you. We're doing our utmost to get you out of here." But once again, he politely declined. And I asked him why. I said to him, "Sir, don't you understand? They accuse you of murder. They say that you murdered thousands when you were the mayor and when you were ruling your country." And then he repeated the question that he has always asked me for a year or more. "How does the prosecution say that I did this?" "Well," I replied, "I thought until Monday that it was because of those speeches of yours. But then your prosecutor told the honourable judges the other day, throw them all out. They're not necessary for the confirmation. He claims that he still has enough evidence to convict you without all the bluster." And the former president repeated the question, "But how? I've never murdered anyone, and they talk about thousands." And then I tried to explain to him arcane concepts such as indirect co-perpetration. And then his eyes simply glazed over. And then, exactly in the spirit of the waiver filed with this court, he looked at me solemnly and said, "Mr. Kaufman, Nick, I have done my duty and I have left my legacy. Go to court and do your job. But I can no longer help you. I no longer remember much at all, and I can't comment on people who I do not know and on statistics that mean nothing to me." He then concluded and pronounced as follows, "I was a faithful servant of the people, and that is how I wish to be remembered. I have now accepted my fate, and I realize that I could die in prison." And on that somber note, my team and I realized that there was no point in continuing. So we tried to humor him. We told him that next month he will be 81. And we reminded him of the many people who visit Duterte Street and Duterte Park, the renamed locality just outside the ICC detention center, as referred to by the many, many pilgrims who have visited The Hague to feel closeness to his presence, even if they cannot witness his actual person with their own eyes. We remind him of the mountain of cards and greetings and of the forest of flowers that he received both at the detention center and at the court's premises on his 80th birthday. So many cards, all of which were read by his family, that we had to provide 2 sacks to take them back to our office. So many bouquets of flowers that the prison had to bring a van to take them away. The flowers that reached the court premises were strategically placed around the building, and although so appealing and desirable and coveted by the staff, were avoided once the staff was told of their origin. So these flowers just rotted in the corridors until the smell forced them to be thrown away. We showed him some photographs of his family. We showed him photographs of his youngest daughter, Veronica, Kitty, who writes to him every day, so often that the letters are piling up in his room. His face starts to light up. We showed him pictures of civic events in the Philippines with Sebastian Baste and Paulo Pulong present. He laughed and told us what he remembers of their days as young men in Davao. We showed him pictures of Inday Sara greeting the enthusiastic crowds of people in the Philippines, and then finally his face beamed with pride. Be persuaded by your own innate sense of justice and by your own collective years of experience, but most importantly, be guided by coherent evidence and by common sense. I ask you, I beg you not to confirm any of the charges. I ask you to let Rodrigo Duterte return to the Philippines, not to govern, but simply to let him live out the rest of his days in peace in his humble dwelling in Davao.